A half on Pericles getting closer. Obam Buramai is charging home. It's Golden Mile. Pericles. Obam Buramai. The Japanese stallion bombed them. Obam Buramai. My goodness.
Welcome to Bet Doctor Behind the Curtain. Look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host, Scoot. On the quick backup, have you slept, Johnny Walter?
I've had like 3 hours, I think.
Vampire.
3 hours, yeah. I don't know. I looked at the clock and the kids were still up at 2 o'clock. I'm like sitting there mucking around with things at 2 a.m. with Beck, and we roll upstairs and they're just sitting there on the iPads. I'm like,
uh-oh.
What's going on here? We just totally forgot about them. So it's going to be a long day today.
Bad parenting there. Big day for you yesterday. There was just winners galore. Osmosis. Timmy was on fire, just start to finish. And then JP salutes with a bumblebee, right?
Yeah.
I think it's
Obama Samurai.
Yeah.
It was one of those, it was nearly a worthy cause day, but it was weird. It was one of those days where you weren't really super confident about everything, though, and then just everything sort of fell. Bloody Mission, Sweet Mercy, Obama Samurai, Kaiser, Amazonian Lass, and Osmosis was a great example of, I think I loaded everything into it at $5 4 weeks ago, and it goes around $21 and pisses up, and a great example of the difference, like preparing for one race did there compared to what the others sort of, at different grand finals and tried to come back and win this. And Osmosis had one thing in mind, and Bjorn nailed it. And didn't he nail them in the media coming out and say they're all wombats, dismissing the horse when he said he had it on song all the way. So all credit to the big fella.
Too good. And then no compromise and Skylar, absolute sickness there. It feels like we nailed that race as well, but copped up the clacker. Boys in Melbourne, how have you pulled up on the quick backup, DK?
Oh, yeah, bailed out of mahogany room about 12:30, Scoot, and up bright and early to get to the final work done in the Melbourne Cup. And it was good, got me out of there because I've got to get home, got work to do, got birdie in the morning, so
good.
Did me a favour. How about you, Nico?
Nico, a bit lame.
I wasn't travelling last night. I was off the bit completely, but I've woke up this morning feeling all right. Went out with the boys to Korean barbecue. I don't think that served me too well, but I think I'm through the other side of it and ready to rip into 3 more days at Flemington, which should be fun.
Is that legit Korean barbecue or is that dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
They say the great man Björn did the smoke bomb and jumped on a plane before the celebrations begun. I was like, that could be the greatest play of the carnival.
Probably a good thing. He can wind up. He's one of the best at it. Quickly, Riff Rocket and Apulia. That was a great finish. And J-Mac just sort of found a way. It was riding on the wall early, wasn't it, Nico, with Riff Rocket just smoking the pipe in mid-race?
Yeah, it was a pretty easy watch, really, I thought. We got to the right part of the track. Thought he improved a lot in the yard from his Norman Robinson run. So I think they did back off him going into that, and then he was cherry ripe there on Saturday. I think we're probably a little bit lucky to win. I think if Apulia gets our run, he beats us, but that's the game, isn't it? Sometimes, DK, you just have the luck on your side, and we had it there, luckily.
Pimple results by J-Mac. The Hayes boys have copped in the 2 big group ones 2 weeks in a row. He's nailed.
He's so strong in a finish, isn't he? Just throwing everything at him over the line. So,
did you see the photo?
Yeah, be a bit sick.
I don't know who put it up. They're nearly identical.
Yeah.
The 2 photos where he's fully extended over the horse's neck and the second horse is sort of looking a bit lazy in comparison. It's not, it wouldn't be great for them to watch, but it's a great example of what AMAC does on them late.
Really interesting big lessons, I guess, for a few people and punters out there is grand finals, and I guess Osmosis was sort of the fresher horse on the scene. Shinzu went well. Cylinder probably had an end of prep run. But it's just caused a little bit of chaos, this new Everest, and now all these traditional Golden Roses, the Everest, Coolmore.
It's really difficult to try and race,
stallion race,
which is worth 10, 20 million to them, potentially if it wins, and there's races big enough to cause carnage there. Even Kovalika, he could have probably been competitive in a Cox Plate Caulfield Cup, and he's racing 3rd, 4th up in a 1,500 metre race, which is, pretty crazy around Rose Hill. So shows what money does.
Must be blowing Chris Waller's head off because he used to be the king of it. I think he's just, I know he had Riff Rocket, but he'd be probably thinking he's having a below
Riff
pass.
Rocket was the opposite, wasn't it? Like as Nico said, he's probably backed off it, just chasing one race, whereas you've got, Tom Kitten that was the horse up in Sydney that, they chose not to go one extra because it's not worth it to them, as a stallion. So it's crazy what money is doing to our racing, but, you've got to take it into account now.
JP stole the show. It was pretty easy watch, perfect tactics. The fence was on fire, and then the Japanese horse just poked his head through, and the
Yeah, anyone who wants to see the real Josh, there's an interview there with Emma Friedman that you'll find pretty easily on Twitter, and it shows, how tough he's probably been doing it mentally, physically lately, and the difference one horse can make, and hopefully he can
bounce back,
spring off it. Yeah, like act at God that he got the ride, to be honest. And Taki coming out when basically no one else had a ride. He was booked for Williamsburg for Gerald Ryan.
Wow.
The Aquas decided to go to the last race in Melbourne instead, which really took them by surprise rather than the Golden Eagle. And the opportunity comes up and he takes it with both hands. So hopefully he springboards off that and everyone can see. It's weird. When I was managing him, it was easier to get him rides in Group 1s than it was in maidens at Gosford. And for who knows why, So hopefully, a few people start to take notice.
Someone else on the bounce back is Jay Spa, Mr. Mojo, rising for Azza on Friday night. And then she lifted Spacewalk and then caused concern, just burst through in a pretty messy race. But Jay Carr, back, Nico.
Yeah, I don't know if she's fully back, but she probably had that right run for Spacewalk. She talked about it in the post-race interview where he just hit the lead at the right time for him. He's only got a short, sharp turn of foot, she was saying, and he only had to catch Naheem Sahale, who went out, looked like pretty fast, and probably was a good ride in the end by Zach Spain. He nearly pitched it, and then Declan Bates did it later on in the day. It was a day where the leaders, they had a good day out, so it'd be interesting.
Particularly on the circle races.
If the track evens up a bit for Tuesday, but you'd think it probably will. Hopefully. So, I think it's probably a good thing if she starts to hit a bit of form because she's on a lot of horses in the market. So.
Well, what I meant to say on the Thursday show and I didn't get around to, I'll say it now, is that despite us punters thinking she's out of form and not really wanting to be on her particularly short in the market, the stables have all stuck with it, which fair enough, that's good, that's loyalty, and she's probably rode him a lot of winners over the last few years and whatever happened, but they've stuck with it. She's still getting good rides on good chance in the market despite not firing that much. So when that happens, it's probably a matter of time until she turns it around.
Just goes to show, the what is it? The margin between the penthouse and the shit house, as Peter Moody says, is very minute. So it's just like your own punting. On probably Wednesday at 3:00, I felt pretty average. But when Declan Bates sort of lifted dashing, and then after yesterday, I feel like I'm sort of back in the ring and ready to go another 12 rounds. So you just got to hang in there and stay disciplined and keep your staking, keep your head down and working hard. And that's what Jamie Carr's obviously doing. It's going to be a cracking show. We've got a couple of best bets for Cup Day, and then we're going to do runner by runner. I don't have any big bets at TopSport just yet, but hopefully mid-show they can zip through and I can put them up. But they're betting best of the best on all the Group 1 races. So you can take the price at the time, and if it drifts, you'll get on to win more there. So make sure you get the best of the best. They'll bet you to win 5,000, and then hopefully you get a bit of a drift and get a better price. So they're opening up the shoulders, so make sure you get an account at TopSport. They're critical at this time of year if you want to get down for a bigger bet. All right, let's have a look at a couple of these best bets for Tuesday. I think they're going to run a little bit straighter. Well, they just have to, I think, for us punters. But the first one we're going to have a look is one of yours, Nico. It's Flemington Race 3 in the TopSport Trophy, 1,800 metres. It's Aztec State, and it's $2.40 against Warmonger, $3.60. Queen of Dragons, $5. Natural deduction is $12, and then Bonotto, $13. Big Swan, $18. Let's have a look at the replay of Aztec State here.
Yeah, he's in behind them in the Yulon colours here. See him out. Top pick on the mounting yard. Male, we backed him. Thought he was a terrific type. I think he's a half-brother Fiorente, someone was telling me. So this was just a car crash. Didn't get out at the right time. Fast run race, actually rated quite well. Horse probably doesn't have a great turn of foot, but he is getting to 1,800 metres. His maiden win was pretty impressive, beating Roll on High, come out and bolted in at Pakenham. And I think with even luck, he probably would have won that race. Pretty much just following up our money. No real prizes for finding him at 240. Like he looks one of the locks on the day, I suppose. But I'm just happy to follow up our money after last start. Getting to Flemington, I think it'd be a big tick for him, in 1,800, also a big tick. So he probably looked the one that was hardest to beat on the card, I thought.
He was taking on Mojave Desert, who's rock hard, fitting pretty deep into his prep. So at start number 2, it just screamed to me that big track Flemington 1,800 was probably the exact notes that I put in my black book. So I think it's a safe way to get the ball rolling. So there'll be plenty of action for that horse, Nico. Let's move straight along to Randwick race number 3. It's a 1,000-metre race. So Johnny, you're in the chair here. Big weather watch. There's a bit of rain last night in Sydney, and I think it's a pretty big spread. 2 to 20 mil forecast tomorrow. So there's a bit of rain around, but
2's hard fence on fire, 20's outside fence should be perfect to try and
so it's
prepare
great.
for.
Let's try and get an early winner. But I own a Merck's a favourite here. Carly Electric Source, I think, $1.80. Dehon Unicorn $4.60. Maximum output $6. Quick Tempo $7. Acapella Sun $10. No Statement $21. 41 Big Day Out, and much better the rest. Going to have a look at the last start replay of Acapella Sun. It's in the black with the red cap and yellow sleeves.
So, yeah, it's an interesting sort of angle to this race because anyone who sort of follows here, probably I own a Merck's my pin-up horse with Osmosis, the 2 Derby Bjorn horses. And, this is it's sort of coming down the outside. I think Bjorn used to have this horse, actually, to be honest, and it was ridden for speed and it was a bit found wanting late a lot. And then Matthew Dale's got this horse worked out that's sort of being ridden quiet is the key to it. What I love about this day in general is that old school trainers set their horses for this day. It's a day that, really for those people who can get it right. And Matthew Dale, for me, is one of those trainers that loves to set horses up for particular targets. No trial here, 1,000 metres, wide draw. Everything absolutely has fallen in his lap. He's got sort of 3 litres drawn underneath Iona Merck. You've got a 3 kilo claimer on Iona Merck riding on a big day at Randwick for... She's ridden a winner in town a couple of weeks ago, but this is a bit different. I'm not saying it can't win, but it's got a few things against it. Dehorn Unicorn, hard to say. No Statement, hopefully kick up under it. And Acapella Sun will be just out the back on the back of Iona Merck, quick tempo and letting rip late. I'd imagine it's going to run really well, just each way sort of all day pretty much. Just hoping that the quicker they go, the quicker this horse will be getting over them late. And 10-1, I think Matthew Dale will be horned up.
Beautiful. That's what I like. And, it piques my interest that Johnny's taken on a couple of those horses. As he mentioned, looks like a really strong form race. I like like one here, Little Black Booker, that I saw first up. So we're going to go stay with Randwick Race 8. Top of the market here over 1,100 metres is Dashing Legend $370, Insurrection $420, Dragonstone $650, Recommendation $8. Hard to say $10, Malkovic $16, Bacchanalia $16. And the horse I like's way out there at $41 with Shelby 66 also at the $41 quote. But the horse I like is Curran here. This is it looks like a hot race with Insurrection and Dashing Legend, but the horse Curran with the blue and the yellow sleeves is just sort of mustering in behind him on the outside there with the white star and snip. And horses up the front here are Asfura, Uncommon James, who have got all the Imperatriz form lines. Chain of Lightning went okay. She got a bit lost there up the straight, I would have thought, yesterday. She was pretty heavily backed. I think Walt found her as well, but just really love the last sort of 200 metres of Curran. And to me, on a day that was pretty tough to sort of make up ground when you're sort of wide, this horse looks really perfectly placed back to a benchmark 100. Can't believe they've put up 40s. No moral, but it's just a horse that you have to have something on at $41 and sort of $9.50 or $7.50 the place. That's sort of Group 1, Group 2 form. And a couple of these horses might be vulnerable despite, Insurrection showing a fair bit of ability, Dashing Legend, but they're sort of like $4, $3.70. And the other thing about this horse, Curran, he's an absolute bomb second up horse, and he doesn't mind the sting out as well. So if Curran wins, wind down your window because I've had a big day on Tuesday. Any thoughts on that
Very
race?
competitive race, and they're going to go quick. So it definitely suits a sort of, if I'm looking at it, when I'm going to go wide in a race, even obviously the horse has got the best form, it doesn't make any difference. But a race like this is perfect. A mix of horses first up, speed horses fresh too, so they could overdo it really easily. Insurrection and Malkovich in the race, like it just looks like they're going to go nuts, and that should really weaken a few of them up front. And 40-1 each way. I'm definitely. I can see what you can see. Just the price is just wrong. $10 a place.
Price went like I can see this horse starting half that, or even like a $15 chance. Just a great setup, and Matty Cartwright's followed it up. So no worries, wet track, and some of its second up runs are just off the chart. So fingers crossed it can get on the float and get up there pretty safely, because
I can't wait for it to be 40s to 10s and then scratch. That's going to be awesome.
Or
Probably in a bloody Token Wall on Thursday or somewhere where DK's got it ready for some sort of crazy race.
Anyway, all right. There's 3 bets to sort of kick your day off on Tuesday, and there'll be more to come via Nico's Mounting Yard Mail Service and then racingwatch.com for Walt stuff. And then if you want mine, Donnie and Nico's Black Bookers. That's in the Little Birdie Syndicate. So we had a bit of a day out yesterday with Bummer Bourre, and Sweet Mercy was another good one at $19. So a lot of people got sausage rolled yesterday, but good day for Walt, good day for me. And it's going to be a massive, massive week. And we've already thrown a couple of bets through for Tuesday meeting. So jump on board if you need some help there. Time to get into the main course, the Melbourne Cup. Won't probably do a market straight off the bat, but I will read out the odds sort of as we go. And the top weight here is Gold Trip, and we'll just run a couple of replays across a few of the runners, but we'll only show the key lead-ups sort of once. So number 1 in the market is Gold Trip. Mar Eustace, James McDonald, $5.50 out from $4.60 at TopSport. Its last lead-up run is the Cox Plate. Let's have a look at it hitting the line here. Maybe one for you, Nico.
Yeah, I thought he's looked outstanding all this campaign, sort of from a yard point of view. I think they've got the horse in perfect order. Even hearing Kieran Mars sort of speak about him on RSN earlier this week, he said the horse just bounced through this run so well. He said he knew he had a run after the Caulfield Cup, but he reckons he's absolutely flying as well. So his fastest last 200 of this race is obviously probably the premier race of the spring, really. He gets to 3,200 metres. I think the only knock is probably the weight, 58.5. Like, it's rarely seen, is it, DK? He's got to win back-to-back, which is also rarely seen. Like, history's probably against him, but I don't think you can knock how he's going.
No, well, I mean, to come off what he backed up off that Caulfield Cup into that Cox Plate, and when I grew up and everything like that, the best run, if you ran well like that in a Cox Plate, that's the best form going into a Melbourne Cup. Now, it's changed a bit now with the imports and things like that, but that's still going to hold him in very good stead. And the other thing is a firmish. I know his feet are better and stuff like that, but he still likes the sting out, and he won last year on the soft ground. So
I think just the sting out takes other horses more out of the race and brings him more into play. Like we've seen this spring, he's been very good on good. Like that was a good 3 last start, but that's probably his advantage on the wet, isn't it? Like it just takes the others out of play a bit, and he comes into his own.
Yeah,
so.
And I think it's a stronger edition this year.
Yeah,
so stronger edition. He's got to carry the weight, but he's in a rich vein of form. It's hard to see him not running well, but so he's definitely in the mix. Good.
I can't add much, but it's burnt into my brain that we did this show 12 months ago. He was $11 when we talked about him, and then he blew out to, 20 or 30? I think it was 30 to 1 you could have got. So I think bookies have got their foot on him now. If you want to back him, I think you can back him best of the best and you'll get a much better price. They'll take him on. Walt?
Yeah, I think that the key to this horse, I think he's going better, is that last year he was coming out of slow run races leading into this race, and obviously got a little bit different conditions come race day, but this year he's gone fast run Turnbull, run out of his skin, fast run Caulfield Cup, run really well. I think he ran out of his skin better than he did last year to get beaten, finished a place further back, but it doesn't matter. And then I think he went better again in this Cox Plate. So I think he's definitely going better, and he's definitely better prepared for 3,200 metres this year coming out of those fast run races. I don't think he was well set up for the Cox Plate. So his run there was incredible, even though, a bit fast tempo may have helped him. But same sort of issues, firm ground, in or there. I think the feet have sort of sorted that out. I think that's sort of the soft ground was more important when his feet were not in a happy place. Yeah, the weight, an extra kilo, I'm not too concerned about that, but I am concerned that this year may be a little bit stronger overall. So, yeah, I think I'm like Scott. I think he probably gets around $10. That's probably more about where his betting window would be for me, just because I think there's a few in this race that are a little bit more strength to them than last year.
All right, number 2 is ALENQUER for Damien Oliver and Mike Moroney. It's been 80s into $67 here. So if you dig back into his European form, he's beaten 8 in an Arc de Triomphe, and he had a pretty quiet autumn with just one run at All-Star Mile and the Queen Elizabeth. Then he's had a pretty traditional lead up Underwood, Caulfield Stakes, Moonee Valley Gold Cup. Sneaky Moroney go here, Nico?
It's probably the narrative horse, isn't he, with Ollie in the saddle? It'd be great to see him win another cup, and gee, it was good to see him yesterday punch home a few winners. This horse was a bit of a sneaky run in the Moonee Valley Cup. Like, he did come home quickest last 200, and for the 2, he's 11th fastest in a 14-horse field. So he really picked up, once he found clear air. It wouldn't shock me at all if he's somewhere in the top 10. I think he's ticking over nicely from a yard point of view. He's definitely come back better this preparation. He just looks a bit, just like how he's racing. He just looks a bit better. So yeah, he wouldn't shock me if he's thereabouts, but he probably needs to find a little bit to win.
Yeah, I've got little concerns. I don't know if he's looking for a strong 3,200. I think he's better in the 1.5 mile, 2,000 metre area. But he's hard. Watching that Moonee Valley Cup, which you're going to give, so it's going to be, the form's going to be all right out of that. So as a lead up, so not total surprise, but you've got to take some on, and love for it, Rolly. I mean, how good would that be? The GOAT finishing on a high, but no, Query had a strong 32 for me, Scoot.
Yeah, I had a good look at that Moonee Valley Cup, and every time you watch the replay, nearly every one of them was an enormous run, whether they sat wide and went huge, or whether, ALENQUER was big from the back, looked good. True Marvel ran alongside it. That's got to be a worry. Bow and Declare sat 3 wide. Future History sat 4 wide, and Cleveland won the race. Even SHERAZ went okay. So what, are they all good chances in this race, or they all got none? And I sort of went towards the second factor because, they were all just great. But the track must have been just perfect because they all ran out of their skins, and I'm just going to say they might run into between 10th and 5th or something, most of those horses, because they're well set up. It's just, I think that it's a different level.
56.5 might pull him up against some of those other ones that you've just mentioned. Number 3 is Without a Fight, drawn barrier 16, Mark Zahra, Anthony and Sam Freedman, $8 into $6.50. Let's pull the replay up here and let's have a look at that Caulfield Cup replay. It makes a really big sustained run, and West Wind Blows is sort of out in front. And I did notice when I had another look at this, Mark Zahra, he sort of uses him as a bit of a battering ram as well, and really just goes into a bit of a 2-horse war with Gold Trip and sort of throws him off his line. And
has he hit him too many times here?
Well, yeah, he's probably, now that we've had another look, and he just causes a fair bit of chaos. So he knocks over the BREAKUP, Valiant King, and you can sort of see SOULCOMBE sort of rattling on. But he's put a bit of a gap on a lot of these horses, and the 1 kilo penalty compared to a lot of penalties or these half kilos that they're sort of been throwing about seems like a pretty good deal. And I would have thought that he's going to take a lot of beating. He's got a big, long sustained run, and I'm going to have to say that he's going to be really hard to beat, personally.
Oh, like he's a good horse. Like he showed that last start, didn't he? I think he is probably up there with, he's going to be one of our best, if not our best, in the coming seasons. But I think that probably is my knock here, that he just might be a little bit brilliant for a Melbourne Cup. I'm predicting a very fast run race. Sort of looking at the map, there's a few horses that have none that are going to want to be up there. VAUBAN's going to want to set a pretty good sort of early tempo. He's going to have to kick up from 3. So I think this will be quite a fast run cup. And I do have some question marks at him at a strong 32. I don't know he's won over 2,800, but it was overseas in a 3 and 6 horse field. This is a lot different. I suppose the caveat to that is he has been the quickest home in nearly all of his races in Australia. And last start was a very fast run race, but just at the price, I do have a question mark at him at a strong 32, which I think this cup will be. He could be the best horse. But I'm going to risk him on Saturday. I think he is a question mark at a strong 32, and he was probably the one in the market I was thinking I probably couldn't take $6.50 about. No doubting his class. If he comes out and beats me, he beats me. But I think a real strong 32 is a worry.
Wow. DK?
Yeah, I was with him like a few years in the Caulfield Cup, and they were in the right spot there. Those horses, those 3 places were in the sort of where you want to be in a fast run race, that sort of sweet spot. He had a vetting issue prior to that Caulfield Cup, if you remember. And then he's come out, and there was no hiding in that race. I just don't know how, if he had some little issues leading into that, and then he out of that, I'm just not. I've got a little query over that it was really brutal, and he already might have been feeling something. So so I've got, again, at his price point in the market, and probably like to see him drawn a bit better. Closer to VAUBAN. So I've got some queries as well over him, Scoot, at the price.
Let's go head to head. This is good. I think if the added herbs and spices weren't in this race, he'd be unbeatable. His run there was incredible. From all reports, he's absolutely thrived and kicked through that. The replay, I think anyone watching it at home, you want to watch around the bend after the race. He's sort of running away from him. Zara's carrying on, and he's still powering away from him. He's not the same horse that showed up in this race 12 months ago. I'd just be completely forgetting that run as any sort of guide to this race, and just watch his 4 runs for the Freedmans, where he's just sat back and gapped them. You know, the 2 runs in Eagle Farm over the winter are pretty much irrelevant, but they were arrogant. His first up run was a complete barrier trial, and then first day that he's been put into the race was there, and you know he didn't show sort of a flashy turn of foot. He got in a dogfight with a horse like West Wind Blows, who was an incredible run the start prior, and he ran away from Gold Trip there. So yeah, it's pretty hard for me to go away from him. From our locals, I think he's just firing away. As long as he has any sort of luck in run, he can pretty much settle anywhere, and he'll be running on. I'd be very surprised if he's not in the finish.
I sort of had another good look at this horse, and my biggest worry was that he may not settle, and he might sort of do like a So You Think and get on the chewy and not really get the 3,200 out. And I went back through his Caulfield Cup run, and he actually switched off better than I thought. And I think maybe he was just a little bit too fresh and got keen, but I just love the way he sustained his big run. And like looking at him versus a SOULCOMBE, I think he can just maintain a bigger sprint, and he's just got more dash and more sort of X factor, this horse, without a fight. I think he's just more brilliant and a better credentialed. And if you go back deeper into his form, even last year's Melbourne Cup, this used to be a horse that sort of sat in the front half of the field. They've taught this horse how to relax. He's a completely different animal this time around, and it's amazing what they've done, given they keep him fresh and they can still get him to relax. So I've got him top pick, and I think he's going to be hard, very, very hard to beat. And I think he's the biggest danger to VAUBAN easily. I think, I'm sort of team Walt. So I think it's going to be.
I think the fast track. He's one of the biggest beneficiaries of a good firm surface too, and which allows him to sort of settle back a little bit further back than he possibly could if it was a wet track, and that would test his stamina as well. So I think he's the biggest beneficiary of what looks like it's going to be a firm deck.
The other horse that could be is number 4, and that's BREAKUP. Kohai Matsuyama.
Hideki's brother?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so $19 into $18. And Damian Lane was never going to take the ride, so he was the one that gave him the pipe opener. And I think this is BREAKUP in the Tenno show, and I think he's just running into 4th here.
Number 12, that's him, yeah.
Number 12, and he's just a real grinding type, and he's definitely going to be another one who...
That's Justin Palace in front, though, who's one of their, serious top-grade horses, so...
Yeah, well, he just ran second at Equinox in the Tenno show spring.
Whatever they call it, yeah. Yeah, and then he's in the Takaraka Ruka. He's run third to him. Is there, well there. So he's, I agree. He's there.
Nico?
Yeah, I went deep diving into this horse from. I had him second pick in the Caulfield Cup from the yard because I was very taken by him. He started $10 there. And I think he just showed he has no turn of foot in that race. They went hard. He was up there on speed. He was probably one of the only real on-speed runners to stick on. Copped a bit of interference in the straight, just like we saw. He won 2 on the bounce, and he went into R.A. McKinnon and ran last. But I went back and watched that replay and sort of did a bit of digging. He got galloped on in the run, which wasn't shown at all. So I think you forgive that run where he ran last there. Then he ran around 3rd to Justin Palace the run after. Then he was in that Tenno show there. He ran 4th. Then the first up run was behind Equinox, where he's only beaten 7 lengths over 2,200 metres. And we saw there he was coming again at the end of 32. Then starts $10 in the Caulfield Cup. Really impressed by him in the yard. Think he'll improve a little bit out of that. If this is a brutal run, 3,200 metres, and you need the best stayer, I think he is the best stayer. He's going to love a firm track. I got him 4th pick. I reckon he's a good chance.
I think he might, he can take it up. I mean, that might be his chance, rolling and making it a test.
Taking off early, maybe.
Well, he's what he is. He's stout, isn't he? He's just got his stamina.
And that has to be the best staying form, like that 3,200 metre Japan form. That's elite.
There's no hiding in those races over there.
No
hurdles.
He's coming again later.
There's no hurdles.
I could see him rolling forward, pressing on and making it a good test. That might be his best chance for mine.
Yeah, I had a good look too, and he's running that Tenno show. He had the best run you've ever seen, but it doesn't matter. That form, as you say, is just clearly superior to anything that shows up here. And he said, these horses are set for these races, like VAUBAN, and he's, they put them through hurdles and things with Group 1 hurdles. We're talking Group 1 hurdles versus Tenno shows. Like Justin Palace at dead set be $1.30 in this race. Equinox would be probably 94 cents. You'd lose 6 cents if you won the race. So, I agree completely. My worry is if Hideki Matsuyama gets lost, he's probably looking for Royal Melbourne. And if Josh was on this, and it's a joke, if they had thrown Damian Lane, Josh, anyone, one of those top Australian riders and you gave them the tactics that the boys have just talked about, just to roll forward and try and find a spot in the first 5 or 6, yeah, I can't see this horse not being in the finish. It's just whether he gets completely lost from that gate or they try and ride him in a strange fashion because, as you said, like the boys have said, he's just got great 3,200 metre form. He went back and got beaten 7 by Equinox in the run after that, and he was ridden up on speed, in a shorter trip. So he can definitely do it. And his run the other day, I agree, was he definitely peaked. He had a good run, but he was just behind a fast speed. He was like 120 days between runs, and he definitely peaked. And when he got squashed, he kept boxing on. And horses don't really do that when they're tired and they get squashed. So that's a great sign that he's, with a little bit of improvement and out into this distance, yeah, he's very dangerous.
I think he'll improve greatly, and I do not want to lay this horse whatsoever. Very scary runner. Number 5 is VAUBAN. Here's his I've jumped the gun here. It's going to be Ryan Moore and Willie Mullins, $3.40 at TopSport, and here he is streeting away at Royal Ascot. Nico?
Yeah, it's a big win, but gee, going back and watching this race, this was an absolute PR. The horse flying home along the fence is absurd, and then the one behind him in the red caps, more FELONS.
Yep.
Like, they went so slow early, and then this was a great ride by Ryan Moore. He just took off when they started cornering. ABSURDE and more FELONS were out the back, had absolutely no chance to catch him. I think the beaten margin there of 7.5 lengths isn't a true reflection of the race.
Wow, fake news.
Well, he's obviously got a lot of talent, this horse, and it's a very different landscape over there, isn't it? Because the big money races are the jumps races. That's why he went jumping. It's not like here where you go jump. Well, there is a hurdle winner in this race, true marvel, but you go jumping at the end of your career. So, you take in that run. I do think he had a lot in his favour, and ABSURDE should have finished a lot closer. ABSURDE started $6. He started $2. Now one's $3.30 and one's like $26. That win in the Ballyrowan was good, but you can tie that in as well through Valiant King, who kind of had the run of the race in the Caulfield Cup and was well beaten. So he didn't absolutely flog Valiant King. He was only beaten sort of a length and a half. He probably has more up his sleeve. Yes, the work the other day was quite good. He drops from 61 kilos down to 55. You get Ryan Moore. There's a lot of ticks for him. He's obviously a horse with a big engine. I think a fast run race will suit him. Firm track will suit him. Seems like a bit of a high energy horse from the footage I saw. It's really interesting to see how he parades, but I just he's a key chance, and I have him in the numbers. I don't want to risk him from like an exotic point of view, but I could not back him at $3.40.
DK?
I thought the icing on the cherry on top was the draw, the draw 3.
He's gonna have to work a bit from there, but
yeah, that's all right. But he's got the early toe.
Yeah.
Last year I was yes, because it was poison odds for different reasons. Really wanted to take on the favourite, and that's my angle normally. Last year, Dover Legend, not even sure I put it in the numbers. This guy with different kettle of fish, and more particularly because it's trained by Willie Mullins. So he's just a freak of the sport. He's probably always wanted to win this race. They bought this horse with the sole intention of this race in mind. I was listening to Rich, and he said they put him over putting over the hurdles has been the making of him. So put him over the hurdles, toughen him up, make him a horse.
he does seem pretty tough.
Yeah.
Like that does seem an attribute he has.
Yeah. So, I just thought, at 55, it's going to get the perfect run. But it's more the respect I have for Willie Mullins. He's been out here before. He knows what it takes. I found it hard to. I really wanted to look around him, but I found it very difficult to.
Yeah, I'm echoing DK to a certain degree there, absolutely. There's so much respect for Willie Mullins, the way he does things, the setup for this horse, and everything they've done. I think the strapper or the stable hand came out and said 18 months or 2 years this has been in the making, and you can see just through his preps, he raced through the novice hurdle stages. He was really dominant early, and I think they're juvenile hurdles, whatever they call them. Then he was tested at the top level of hurdles, and as funny as that sounds, it is still high level stayers. When you're talking UK hurdles, it's big money and quality horses. So he's then been sort of backed off, given an absolute easy kill. I think I read somewhere that he was the shortest price handicap winner in 100 years at Ascot in that race. So he was expected to win. He was given every chance, and he was dominant. And I think Ryan Moore jumping on him there was a good sign, probably as a barrier trial for him to see whether he'd come out and ride him. Obviously, did enough there to show that it was worth Ryan coming out, and then that last start at Nassau or whatever, the Ballyroan was, I think, pretty much a barrier trial.
Just get him to pass the ballot without copping any big weighter here. That's
exactly
a treat, haven't they?
Yeah, there's literally no depth to his form, but that's because they've dodged all the any race that would hurt his handicapping. So he's the best set up international horse I've seen for a long time. That's clearly targeted the race and got here. It looks in perfect order. That gallop that everyone circle jerked over, I think was justifiable as well. He looked great there, and that's what we want to see when he comes here. I'm going to dive in at $3.30. Probably, it's the little queries are like Nico said, that Valiant King run. I think he'll make a joke of that. To be fair, and I'm taking the stablemates that finished behind him in that Copper Horse handicap very seriously here, because I think they both run, especially Absurd, ran extremely well. I agree with Nico that he held his margin basically from about the 600 metre mark, and if you go back and watch Absurd, he was pretty keen in the run back in an awkward spot whilst VAUBAN was up on the speed doing his thing. But he's just a horse that can accelerate to a certain degree and then extend off that, and he does look like he's got gears. So it's extremely hard to knock him. He's obviously extremely well found in the market, and like Nico said, there's not it's not as if you're going to go and have your life savings on it at $3 in a Melbourne Cup, having to travel and do all these things. But it's extremely hard from my spot to see him running poorly. So he's going to be there. It's just whether you're happy to take the price or not.
Good luck to anyone on him at big odds, but there's no way I could step into this horse at the current price. But he's going to be super hard to beat, and can't really add anything more to the conversation. But good luck to everyone holding big tickets on this horse, because it sounds like there's some whoppers out there, and just can't see bookies taking their foot off him. I think every man on the street has just seen that gallop last Tuesday. The media trainer all over him. So good luck getting a price about this horse. But yeah, just so exposed, and can't back him. Number 6 is SOULCOMBE. Joe Moreira goes on for Craig Williams. Chris Waller trains $12 into 10. I think this horse is a beneficiary of one of the best drawn horses. I think he can find the back of Gold Trip, and he needs sort of a suck and a magician ride to sort of beat these horses. And it's a funny one. I went looking through his tapes, and everyone started to talk about his barriers, and he sort of tiptoed out of the gates in the Caulfield Cup. But he's been doing this forever, this horse. It's not a new thing for SOULCOMBE. He just needs to find the bum of Gold Trip, and then hopefully he can just sprint past Gold Trip in the home straight. But that's what the Magic Man should be doing if I was giving him instructions. Nico?
Yeah, third pick. I think he's in this race with a great chance. Chris Waller made a great point. Read the blinkers. They said they think he's not anticipating the jump because he can't see the other horses around him, and then he jumps when he sees them in front of him. So they've taken them off. Synthetic hoof filler comes off, so his feet are obviously better than what they were last start. This horse, I think, is the best placed Australian because he's beat the handicapper. He's run well in all the good races, but he hasn't copped a weight. Gets Moreira, who's an absolute freak staying rider. He's like the best balanced rider you'll see. He's a gun. He's just a gun at everything. So I think you'll get him out of the gates. He'll run 3,200 metres. He's a proper stayer. I could mark him shorter than $10. I know the barrier beginning is a bit of a question mark, but if it's the 3,200 metres is probably when it's least relevant, because if he does miss it, he can tack on early. So yeah, I think he's a great chance.
I completely agree. Second pick for mine. I just and ahed so much about the barriers and then the blinkers off, and I mean, and Waller's got guys in Melbourne like Steve Arnold.
Arnold's his main track.
He's his main rider. Aaron Kuru. That's right. So they're elite horsemen, trying to work this bloke out. Look, his lead up is the West Wind Blows run, coming at him on the line in the Turnbull, just what you want to see. Like you said, the weight. I agree with everything you say, Nick. I was just and ahed about him getting out of the gates, but I think I think he sets up really well. Just as Scoot said, he just needs to get out of the gates and find the right spot in the run.
Yeah, I think Scoot hit it on the head. I think he needs a suck, and I think Waller will have to suck off Moreira if he gets him to jump, because I think he's $1 billion to 1 to jump. And like you're talking about VAUBAN having to kick up to use his gate speed, and he's got gate speed and jumps every start. This horse, how the hell is he going to be, not last? And how many horses win a Melbourne Cup from last and last the fence as well? I agree, Moreira is the only reason I'm entertaining this horse. And if he somehow does, and he will have to be the magic man to get this horse to jump, the blinkers on and off with this horse is absolute garbage. You watch him, he just doesn't jump. He just doesn't. So the only X factor is Moreira. If he somehow, absolutely pulls a rabbit out of his hat and does have him anywhere near Gold Trip in the run, then he's a serious chance. If he's got to run on from last, he's got to be far lap, and I don't think he is. You see that he used up all that energy trying to get to the. He got on the back of Without a Fight and those horses in the Caulfield Cup.
Ran out of carrots.
And he ran out of carrots. So if he has to do the same thing over 3,200 metres, how's he going to do it? So that's my set on this horse. He's one of those horses like you might have a trifecta with him to win, and then I might leave him out of everything else, because if he does somehow jump, he could just piss in, but I just don't see it happening. So, yeah, good. Polarising opinions.
Yeah.
Racing, the great game.
I concur with everything that Walt says there. I try and fall in love with this horse, but you see it just time and time again. They spend so many carrots to get to the race there. They've sort of run out of them. Number 7 is Absurd. Zach Purton for Willie Mullins, the stablemate. We've already sort of covered this runner. A couple of interesting sort of forgive angles there. We're going to have a look at his win in the Ebor, and that's him out in front on the left of the screen in the light colours. Nico?
Yeah, I think notably as well, more FELONS is in the green and white
Just back
behind him
inside
with
him
the
with
red cap.
Yeah.
He was held up by this horse in the blue cap just behind Absurd. I think he should have finished much closer, more FELONS, but Absurd kind of hit the front a long way out here. He was back from a hurdle race. He just lacked a bit of dash. I think he had 60.5 kilos there, but it was still not a bad win. Like, he stuck on bravely. The second horse he beat, Sweet William, come out of that race and ran second to Trushan in the Doncaster Cup, which is pretty good form. And then, like we said, when we went back to Ascot run, he just had absolutely none against VAUBAN. He started $6. Hey, I think Frankie off to Zach is a big positive. Last time he met VAUBAN, they carried equal weights. Now he gets the weight swing off him, drops hugely in the weights from his last few runs, like 60.5 down to 53. Gets the right run. I think he'll stay all day. I think that's probably this horse's key attribute. Just that staying prowess he has. Real fast run race. He's got the right draw. Yeah, he's top pick for mine. I think he's way over the odds at $21, and he'll be the best result for me in the race.
Outstanding. Love the confidence.
Yeah, no, with if you're respecting VAUBAN, you've got to. I mean, if you really like VAUBAN, this form all ties in. The only thing you hit this, so this guy was bought as a to jump, whereas VAUBAN's been bought for the Melbourne Cup, and this guy he's actually gone well on so they've all gone well on the flat, so they bought him out. So, but the key there, Zach Purton. I mean, he deserves to win a race like this. I think it's a great rider for him. He's going to give it every possible chance.
Yeah, if you go back and watch that Ebor, I'm not up with those the UK staying form certainly anywhere near as much as I'm here, but it's at 3 wide on speed the whole way and got to the outside fence. Whether that was an advantage or disadvantage, I'm not sure. Here, that would be an astronomical effort, and you definitely know he's going to stay. As I said, sort of 60.5 there, drops to 53. Zach Purton, who is right up there with Joe Moreira, obviously, on a world stage as a great jockey. There's just so many positives this horse brings, and the one slight detraction is maybe more FELONS, the sort of how close he finishes, but he showed up here with Equicast, and we'll get to him later. He runs well in a Geelong Cup. If I just put that out of my mind, his runs simply behind VAUBAN and then that run in the Ebor are enough to have him, I think, clearly the best value runner in the race. I think he'll probably go close to halving his price come race time. Everyone will find Purton. Everyone will find this horse. And, with him and the Japanese horse are clearly the two value runners at this stage while we're doing this preview. It's
amazing. He's a fast net rock. It's a impossible horse to lay this, especially with Zach Purton jumping on. Perfect draw. You just got absolute rocks in your head if you want to take this horse on, I would have thought. Number 8 is Right You Are, John Allen, Kieran Maher. It's been 81 into 51. Won't show the replay here, but he was one of the best on paces and just sort of stuck there like glue. If you're talking about horses like BREAKUP, he was sort of finishing right there alongside him, if not beating him. I think this horse has a massive chance to run a sneaky place, or top 5 or a top 10. And this time in, he's just been clearly targeted to these big feature races. So I think he's a definite one for the top 10s. Nico?
Yeah, I think his target one race, and that was the Caulfield Cup, given he had the golden ticket from winning the Mornington Cup. Be a good story. His Damn Like a Ding I think she ran third to Maccabi Diva out of So You Think. So, or by So You Think, I should say.
I remember that horse. It was an absolute freak.
He's got the Melbourne Cup lines there, doesn't he? But I don't know if he'll be emulating his stallion and mare of running a place. I don't know if he'll run 3,200, to be honest.
The query is that, but I think you've got a side that he will. I mean, he's just. I think you give him a chance, but I won't spend too much time on him. But he's a top. I thought he was a top 10 chance. He's in pretty good form, and he'll be up there, and we'll probably like him to have drawn better in a big race, but top 10 chance for mine.
Well, yeah, he was the one that was closest to that brutal speed in the Caulfield Cup, hit the front and basically, didn't look the winner, but it did look, he presented as the winner at one point and only beaten 4 lengths. So, yeah, I think exactly as the boy says, he fits into a top 10 to top 4 to win the race. He needs some sort of historical peak that he hasn't shown to date, and he has to run the 3,200 out like no horse we've ever seen before, but he's definitely a top sort of 10, maybe goes in for 4th in first fours, trying to jam that little roughie into to build you a bit of value.
Got to respect the camp as well. Number 9 is Vow and Declare, Billy Egan, Danny O'Brien. This horse is flying 34 into $21. The replay we're going to have a look at here is just the might and power run. Obviously, he's got a Moonee Valley Cup run that we'll see when we preview the next horse, but brutal tempo. Alligator Blood, you've seen Alligator Blood in the Cox Plate. He went super, and this horse just sort of keeps whacking away. Dewey sneaking up along the fence, and wasn't she a good run in the Cox Plate, but he's sort of winding back the clock. I don't know what Danny's doing, but he's won a Melbourne Cup. Was a bit of an act of God. Craig Williams super steer, but couldn't be going any better, this horse. Looks really well found now. I could see him similar to Right You Are, running a big race, but I just don't think I think he'll find one better. Nico?
Yeah, it's a great narrative, isn't it, if he can win another Melbourne Cup. The Melbourne Cup he did win was a very slow run race, which I think you'll find a very opposite setup here, but like 8-year-old, he's a war horse. I don't think anyone could knock him. Love to see Billy. Like, Billy getting a ride in a cup's great. Like, he's a real tradesman, getting down to 53 kilos. Like, he'll be doing it tough. So I hope it runs well for him. I just can't see him winning.
I thought he goes in. I think he's flying. He's arguably in career best form this. I mean, I thought, oh, wow, will that run by an Alligator Blood? And then there was a monster run in the Moonee Valley Cup, as Walt said. You ought to say, were they all good runs, or is that form average? But Cox played the Cox Plate, the same carnival, same track. That was a bunch finish with lots of flashing lights and rated all right. I'm thinking those races just turned out all right for that carnival, even though the margins and that weren't there. So I thought, 21, he goes in all trifectas and first fours and everything for mine.
Well,
yeah, I agree with DK. I think he's in career best form, which is kind of funny to say. I thought he was an absolute $1 billion in the Melbourne Cup that he did win. But it was a very weirdly run sort of 2,400 metre-esque, 3,200 metre race. And I think he's a different horse now. But yeah, gate 19, Billy Egan, where's he going to get to? The thing is that he does bring that X factor to all of that form in the Moonee Valley Cup form, because he brings in the weight for age form before that. So, he's run Alligator Blood to 2 lengths. Obviously, that was very flattered considering the tempo and runs they had in the race, but he drops to 53. And yeah, I think the big question mark, same as Nico has said, is that him running a strong 3,200 in a real test is the key. If he does it, he's another one that fits into that top 4 range, I think, but he's going to have to, be the resurrection of when did he win? 3 years? How long ago?
2019.
A long top 4 years ago or something.
Yeah, he's got to beat a lot of history, hasn't he?
Yeah. Number 10 is Cleveland, Michael D and Chris Lee. So we're going to see his last start, Moonee Valley Gold Cup win, and we've already spoken about this race.
Is Land Legend in this replay? Is he in this race?
Yeah.
Mate, Land Legend might have started $10. I thought I wrote 20 yesterday. He might have started 10.
The form all ties in.
Right up there.
Nico?
Yeah, Vow and Declare was good here. Arthur Baskin had no luck. Franked the form yesterday. Cleveland probably had the right run working into the race. I thought the run of the race was future history. Like, he's an on pace that they went back and he did all the work to get into the race. I think this was it was a bit of a biased track that night, and they did sort of make ground in the staying race there. He's obviously pretty well in this race. Like, he's going very well. He's got a good platform, like having a 2,300, 24, 26 and 2,500 metre run coming into this. He'll be fit. He'll be somewhere in the finish, but I think the barriers really hurt his chances. Like, he probably does like a little bit of the class, and he's probably got a bit of a tricky draw from out there. Wouldn't shock, but I think it's genuine 30s or 50s chance around that.
Yeah, the draw cruel did for me. I went, look, because that Land Legend from that Archer, and I think things have been getting beaten 10 lengths, 15 lengths, that Archer race, they're coming out and winning. So that looks like it, a great base, and there's a few horses that form ties in with KALAPOUR and whatnot in the race, but I would have thought he'd need a good draw, as J-Mac gave him a really great ride to win the other night. So from 23, the draw culled it for me.
Yeah, he won that race, but he might have been about the 22nd best run in the race. So Yeah, how do you how do you line it up? I agree. I love the way this horse travels and shows how well he's going. He sticks his head like literally nearly on the ground in the run. He watches replay in that St. Ledger or whatever the race was when Land Legend absolutely destroyed him, and he was incredible the way he sort of travelled. He's absolutely flying. Mick D needs to pull off a miracle from that draw to have him sort of run top four. He's probably capable if he did that, but it's a big ask.
Not for me. Number 11 is ASHRUN, Kira McAvoy, and Ma and Eustace, $41 at TopSport. Replay we're going to have a look at here is the Geelong Cup, and really tricky day to sort of make significant ground. You got more felons in the Pegan colours out wide. Future History went off the
Magical Lagoon in front.
Sorry, First Immortal went off favourite. Magical Lagoon, Virtuous Circle just didn't find anything.
Harry Dusty, that was enough for him.
Yep. And
there's the map right out the back, falling out of the screen. Scooty's horse.
The Turner Foot horse.
Yeah, the Turner Foot horse.
There is third last.
Yeah. What do you make of the ASHRUN form, Nico?
Well, I thought he had probably the run of the race there and he couldn't win, so that's probably a slight knock. But he's going well. He's running the Buck Cummings was good. He did start sort of $26 in the last cup he ran in, which was only 4 runs ago. Surprisingly, it was 1,047 days ago. He wouldn't shock. He's in the right stable. He's going the right way about it. It's just probably a genuine 40s or 50s chance again, I would have thought.
Yeah, some form you've got to be around if you haven't an opinion. So that bunch finish, the other more Felons is the only one you really want to be taken out of that, in my opinion, that race. The bunch finish, bunch nature of that, I'm against. And he'll stay the trip, but probably wouldn't mind a bit of rain. So I thought he might be a better wet tracker.
Well, he's running the cup last year was actually quite good. He just set him. He was 40s. Yeah, he was 812 lengths off him coming to the turn. Oh, that was 3 years ago, was it? 2020, is that right? And it's 1,101 days since it last won. I think it'll be whacking into 8, 7, 6, something like that.
Next one is number 12, DAQIANSWEET Jr., 101 into 81, Daniel Stackhouse for Philip Stokes. Going to have a look at its last start, Herbert Power run. Military Mission is the winner. The grey horse here, you got United Nations sort of pushing out, and here he is just off the back of him in the OTI colours. And it was an interesting runner. He just got miles out of his ground in, I think, the Melbourne Cup, last year, and he sort of flashed home, even though he's got beaten 7. I think they'll be trying to ride him a bit closer this time, and I think he's a sneaky one for sort of top 10s and maybe a top 5 or something like that, but lacks a bit of class, but he'll definitely run the 3,200. Nico?
Yeah, I think you could definitely make a case his top 10 chance. Like at 100 to 1, you're probably going to get, $3 or $4 for top 10. He ran 6 in the race last year. His last 3 3,200 metre runs are winning Adelaide Cup, 3rd in the Sydney Cup, and 6th in the Melbourne Cup last year. You probably would like it wet, but if they go very fast, he'll just keep going. So, yeah, I could make a case you could back him top 10, I reckon. He's probably one of the value top 10 runners.
No, I'm around the Herbert Power. He's one form. I'm dead set around the Herbert Power.
Yeah, it's the one camel lead up, I agree, of all of them. And the only bet I'd like to have is that horse to beat home Military Mission, probably over the 3,200. That's the only bet I could.
Nice little head-to-head jobby.
Maybe, yeah. I half liked him last year as a roughie for exotics and things, and he ran up to that, and he probably does something similar. But, yeah, he's coming out of the wrong race for mine as well. I agree with DK.
OKITA SOUSHI is the next one. Dylan Gibbons, Joseph O'Brien, 101 into 81 at TopSport. Caulfield Cup, beaten 10 lengths. I can't see him turning the tables. Nico?
I thought he had the worst run in the Caulfield Cup. He was out the back. He had a bit of a gap between runs. You look through the sectionals on punting form, 12 to 10, he's quickest of the race. 10 to 8, 12 fastest. 8 to 6, 4 fastest. 6 to 4, he's the quickest of the race. So probably the horse that's lacking a lot of class compared to the others, and he's working the hardest from the position he was in. 4 to 2, 5th fastest. So he's still thereabouts with these other horses sectionally. He's just given him way too big a head start. And then I think he just blew out that last 200 metres.
It's spill that energy he spent.
I think this is the horse for top 10. This is a great roughie. I think he's the best roughie in the race. He's got the right form. He worked hard in the Caulfield Cup. He'll stay all day. That's his last wins at 3,200 metres, or one of his last wins. And then you could go back to that race, which VAUBAN won at Ascot the year before. Him and Cleveland crossed the line together. So you can definitely tie his form into the Australian form, and he's running the right lead up. I couldn't believe he was 100 to 1. I've already had something on him at hundreds, and I'll be betting up top 10. I think this might be the best bet of the race, him top 10.
Outstanding.
There you go, Nico.
DK.
That's good. The draw, I'd like a better draw. I thought he'd draw for. I thought he'd need a miracle from 20, but it was. Well, he was one of those horses who had spent all those carrots from back in the Caulfield Cup, and so that'll hold him in good stead, fitness wise.
Yeah, I saw everything Nico did, as in he squirted went like a rocket for probably 400 or 500 metres, maybe a little bit longer from what Nico's saying there. But my worry is the jockey. Like the horse might run top 10, but the jockey might not. 51.5, Dylan running 3,200 metres. He's going to need to put in some sort of extraordinary performance to ride at that weight in this sort of event from this gate. So, yeah, I see him certainly. Like, I can't knock a top 10, that's for sure. But yeah, it's where he gets to from the draw. He's in a similar situation to, say, SOULCOMBE, because a very similar sort of run where he was a little bit of a hidden run, but then ran out of carrots. So how many is he going to have to sort of get there? Yeah, I'm certainly not. I'd probably mark him sort of around 25, 30 to 1 as a roughie, exotics roughie, better than a few of the local chances. So I think that's probably similar to what Nico's saying as well. But yeah, it's going to be extraordinary to see if Dylan Gibbons pulls this off, and I hope he does. I'm not knocking the rider. I'm just saying 51.5 is a huge effort for him over 3,200 metres, because he's going to be stretching his body to get to that limit.
14 is SHERAZ, Bo Merton, and Chris Waller, 151 into 101, comes through the Moonee Valley Gold Cup. Nico?
No, I can't win.
We run the trip, but again, need a miracle from the draw, and probably hasn't got the class.
Well,
another one of those Moonee Valley runs. What is it? I'm happy to leave it out 22 gate. Going to be set a task and have to run some sort of crazy career best. No.
Number 15 is LASTOTCHKA. Mick Price has got this import. It's got Craig Williams, obviously a very talented rider, $26. Let's have a look at its pre-Gladiator performance. It's got tactical speed, this horse. You've missed the early stage of the race, but it can push forward, take a position. Geez, they'd be spewing. They got barrier 21, but if BREAKUP's going to go forward, maybe she can tag on his back and just going to eat up the 3,100, as you've sort of seen here. Can she run it fast enough, Nico?
Yeah, that's probably the question, isn't it? That was 3,100 there. She's coming away from him. A lot of her wins, she hasn't won on a good track, so all her wins are on soft and heavy. She's got a bit of talent. I know there's a few people tipping her that sort of say her rating stuck up, the form around her stacks up. So, yeah, I found it very hard to line up. I think barrier 21's a little bit tricky. And just looking at her there, she looks pretty small. Just doesn't have a big shoulder, no big hindquarter. I think she does look a bit like a wet track type. So, given all her form is on that ground, that's probably a knock.
Yeah, obviously listening to Mick Price yesterday. It'll roll forward. Yeah, like I said, Scoot said, BREAKUP carded across. I think she's a bit of X factor here.
I thought she would be shorter, off the media height. I thought she'd be shorter.
That was good. Like that race pre-Gladiator or whatever. That's a good race. That good horses win that race over there. Has a history of quality stars winning it. She'll roll forward. Like I said, definitely a top 10 chance for mine. I wouldn't be surprised to see her run well at all.
Well,
yeah, I don't like this one. I agree with Nico that she looks like a little skipper. If Dylan Gibbons was riding this, he could touch the ground on both sides. So she's her first start in a race was the 15-horse 2-year-old race. After that, she's never been in a field bigger than 11. From a 21 gate, I think they've done the right thing engaging Craig Williams, absolutely. But, if she cops a check at any stage, a little hip and shoulder from any of these horses, she may end up on the outside fence. I just want to risk it just from a field size and the size of this horse perspective. And then you add in, I think she's a wet tracker as well. She will stay for sure. You want to watch a funny replay, watch that replay. They go outside fence, inside fence. I think I'd got lost trying to follow whether the race was being abandoned or it was still going ahead while the race was running. Ratings wise, I had a good look at that too, and I think it has to come up a lot more than your ABSURDEs and VAUBAN as well. So yeah, it's one that I'll certainly be risking. Maybe again throw it in for the old 4th position just because you always want to cover yourself. If it wins, I'll be losing.
Magical Lagoon is the next one. Mark Duplessis and Chris Waller comes out at Bunch Geelong Cup finish. As DK said, I'm happy to give it a miss with more FELONS, the horse I want to take out of that run.
Yeah, it had the right run too. It was a good day to sit on pace and lead, and that's where she was. Good luck to Mark Duplessis. So having the ride, crossover goes on. So maybe they just thought
that's
I'm
Mark
plus 2 plus 3.
2 plus 3. That's there, remember it? Mark 2 plus 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, crossover goes on. So maybe they wanted to settle a little bit better. So maybe won't be as ridden as aggressive here. I think you could maybe factor that into your match.
Yeah, it should be part of the hot tempo up the front. But you think the last furlong will find her out in this class?
Well, no.
It wasn't a bad run in that Geelong Cup, to be honest. It was good. And the only way this horse can figure in the finish is if Nico's got the map completely wrong and they somehow let this horse go to control and do something crazy. But even at sort of depth of its old form, I think it won an Irish Oaks or an Irish something, and it was pretty weak. So yeah, it would be a wallet miracle. And 2+3, I don't know where they've plucked him from, but
Queensland.
What's that? I understand where he came. Well, they got him from South Africa. If you want to go further back,
He's a bit of he's their man up there.
He's an out of left field job, but yeah, no, it needs a miracle.
Yeah, it does. Number 17 is Military Mission, Rachel King and Waterhouse Bot, $34. Sort of resurrected this horse, but yeah, Walt's already sort of half put the pen through this camel form. Not for me.
Yeah, our sponsors, the TasRacing, they'll be hoping he runs well. The Hobart Cup winner, so they'll be cheering him. But yeah, he was all right last start in the Herbert Power. It wouldn't shock me if he was top 10. And does have a good base underneath him, like a 24, 23, 24, and 2400 metre run this campaign. So he's rock hard fit. But I'd rather back, KALAPOUR SOUSHI at hundreds than him at 30s.
Yeah, I'm with Walt there. I've already said what I said about the Herbert Power. I'm looking around it.
Yeah, I love this horse. It ran really well at Randwick. It ran second. I unloaded on it at $4 in the Tats Cup, didn't finish the course. Then it came out and pissed in the Newcastle Cup. Then I unloaded on it each way in the Metro run fourth. And then it came out on the Herbert Park. If this horse wins, I'll eat it. Gay's come out and said top 5 guarantee, which is pure Gay. But yeah, I don't think it's going to run the trip. It's well drawn. Rachel King, won the Coolmore yesterday. Good luck to him, but it's not for me. 18
is Serpentine, Jai McNeil and Gay Bot. $61 chance. Bart Cummings was good. Pretty quirky sort of character. Sort of sits on speed. Nico?
Well, I thought he probably should have beat Athabaskan in the Tats Cup. Athabaskan took off early and he was quite a bit napping there. And then Bart Cummings wasn't run to suit him. He needs a fast run race and it was slowly run. He wasn't up there. I think this is probably a leader of what we saw from him last campaign. Draws 1. Tongue control bit comes off for the first time. They go with the tongue tie. So I think that will probably help him. He might race a bit more sort of fierce in the early stages given that. I thought his Bart Cummings run was actually all right given the circumstances. I could see him sticking on for top 10. And I think he's probably not the worst of a few of those horses. I think he'll be one of the better on speed horses. He'll stay all day. He did start $9 first without a fight in the Q22. I think it's got to mean something here.
Oh, I can't add much more, Nico. Yeah, I think his odds reflect his chances. He lacks a bit of class for mine to win a race like this, but from gate 1 he'll be up there for a long way.
He looks a bit of a nonny, doesn't he? Like he's had the race won a couple of times since he's been here. They've tinkered blinkers on, blinkers off. Yeah, he sticks on, but he's a bit of a pack chaser, so yeah, I can see him running top 10 definitely. Perfect draw, 51. He's going to get his chance to find the spot that he likes, but yeah, he's a miracle to win.
Race manners I don't like with that horse trying to get 3,200. Number 19 is Virtual Circle, Craig Newitt, Liam Howley, 101. This is a horse that I thought Liam Howley done everything right, and I can't work out why he didn't want to go in the Geelong Cup. I thought he'd be in the finish there, and really disappointing and not sure what's happened, whether the horse has lost interest, gone amiss, had a bleed, has an issue. Real mystery, but up until last start in the Geelong Cup, I thought he was going to be a genuine top 3, top 5 chance, but now I'm all at sea with the horse. I used to love him. Don't know what's going on here, but I've got early tickets, but they might be confetti.
Yeah, he's a hard horse to assess of his last run because he started $5.
Yeah, the SP,
too much.
That race. So.
He always looks sensational in the yard. Liam Howley knows how to train a Melbourne Cup winner out of Mount Macedon. He may have overachieved in the slowly run races, which is kind of what I'm thinking. Like he was good in the naturalism without a whole lot of luck. That was slowly run. The Bart Cummings was slowly run. He was the unlucky runner. Then last start, it wasn't a brutal run Geelong Cup by any means, but it was at least it was faster than the Bart Cummings, and he was left a bit wanting late. I just question how he's going. Like the fast run race he saw this campaign, he nearly finished last. So I could see if you wanted to back him at hundreds off his 3-year-old form, you could make a case, but he's just last run is a big run.
And I think if you're coming into this, you've got to be coming into this off something good, don't you?
Yeah.
So that's his issue. He's coming in off the plane. Even though he had the SP, it was a very plain effort.
Well, yeah, Scoot was bullish about him last time, so I had a really good look at him, and I agreed that he was definitely the horse that I wanted to back in the Geelong Cup, and and then trying to explain that run, I've taken the same line as Nico, that he's just, that ATC Derby form is very sketchy, and any time that he's been in a sort of a test, he hasn't really shown up. So, yeah, to get to 3,200 metres and want to turn that around looks nigh impossible.
Yeah, agree. More Felons is number 20, J Carr and Chris Waller, $34. Everyone's saying sort of similar things around the Geelong Cup. The form ties in around absurd, 50.5 kilos. Just need Jamie to find some sort of back or position in run. And I think it's a genuine knockout chance at $34.
Yeah, I agree. Just that run in the Geelong Cup was probably the run of the day. Like, he got back. It was a day where it was hard to do that. He flew home, third fastest last 200 of the meeting. Loved him out of the yard. I'd be declaring it on a soft track. It just looks like he'd grow a leg on a soft, but the good track doesn't probably bring him into the favour that much, and the draw is a little bit sticky, but he is a back marker. Thought it was really interesting. You go back through his form. He ran in that VAUBAN absurd race. He carried 62 kilos. They both had 61. Like, somehow he got 62. And then he had the worst run in the race. Last on the fence, didn't have a whole lot of luck. He should have finished a lot closer there. Then he went to the Silver Cup, ran second to Hamish. That horse has form around Kyprios. And then in the Ebor, I thought you could have made a real case. You should have finished a lot closer to Observe. He went for that run right on the outside fence. He was building into the race. Then that horse cut him off and he had to go back inside and lost all his momentum. Equicast comes off. And I think just off those runs against Absurd and then carrying the 62 against them when they all met at Ascot, now he has 50.5. I think he's a huge chance off the first up run, and Equicast comes off, which is a big tick for mine. Yeah, another one that would be a huge result for me, and I've got him second pick.
Yeah, no, you told me when you mentioned Melbourne Cup a few weeks ago, you said this horse, Nico. So I know you're all over him. I would have, 24. She's going to have to go back to last, I would think. But like I said, he's a back marker, but it's going to be a task for me. You would have much rather draw. But it's going to be would have been the second half of the field anyway. But the draw saw me have to drop off.
Yeah, the scary thing for me is I've never seen this before. Equicast on the 1st of November. So that was after the Geelong race. Equicast off the 4th of November. I've never seen that before in my life. So both front feet had Equicast put on its feet. For anyone watching, it's a pretty aggressive sort of tool used by farriers to sort of hold feet together usually. So very strange for it to go on and come off within 4 days, just leading into a Melbourne Cup. That scares me. A horse that's come out here, if you just go off what we've seen in his replays in the UK, he's definitely the biggest priced, runner in the race. Crazy at the weights. He's very, very well positioned, and his run in the E-ball was really good. The run before that was a complete forgive behind VAUBAN. So for me, I'm treating him as I'll probably chop out of him just because he's that price that I don't want him to beat me, and I don't want Waller to beat me off what was a good run. If you watch that Geelong Cup really closely, I know he was a great run from back in the field, but he was definitely gone on the line. That scares me a little bit with the foot problem as well. So I'll probably just chop out on him in the race and forget that he exists.
Future history is 21, Holly Doyle at Mar Eustace, 50 kilos. Interesting jockey booking there, $21. Got a really big platform here, 2,000, 2,500, 2,500, all the traditional lead-ups, no weight. Nico?
Well, they didn't want to win the Moonee Valley Cup. He's in his 3 runs prior, either led or sat second in the run, and then they decided they'll go right back from 13. And he still nearly won it. He did the most work to get into the race, and he probably just peaked on his run late, sectionally. Like, he's 8th fastest last 200 of the race, and he's right there in the finish. Drops big in the weight. He gets 50 kilos. I think he's one of the best of the on-speed brigade. He's probably a slight question mark whether on a strong 32. But geez, absolutely flying. He's in the right stable, and he's beat the handicapper for sure. So I think he'll run well. Future history.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, 32, but he's got the beautiful platform for it. No, the 2 runs at the 25. He had the runs at 2,000 prior.
Like, he's been in work since June.
Yeah,
he's in racing since June.
Yeah. And she's a gun, isn't she? She's a jet, Holly Doyle. So 50 kilos, no weight. Like you said, dropping 6 kilos. Got a map behind the fast, just off the fast tempo. I can see him definitely top 6, top 10 chance for mine.
Yeah, I could slot him in there. It's just a worry when you sort of go back. He's got beat in benchmark 78, and he's beaten Interpretation, who's certainly not the form for me in this race. He got beat by Young Werther, who's won in its last 712. Come out and controlled beat First Immortal then. It was a good run, certainly in that Moonee Valley Cup where the jury's out just on the strength of the form. it's hard to knock a horse at 16 starts, 6 wins, 4 seconds and a third, drops to 50 kilos. Holly Doyle, don't know much about her, but she's obviously a quality rider who comes over here to ride it, heads forward. There's a lot to like about it. I just worry about the depth. But I think, top 10 chance, top 10 to 6 is probably realistic.
Number 22 is Interpretation, Theo Nugent and Ma Eustace, $81. Bendigo Cup winner. It's a no for me.
Yeah, he won his race last start. He was running really well. He probably should have finished a lot closer in the Bart Cummings. It's a better horse this campaign than what we saw last year going to the Cup. But he probably just had the right run last start to win in probably a weak Bendigo Cup. But he wouldn't shock if he's top 10. I think he'll stay.
Yeah, High Emotion came through the Bendigo Cup last year, didn't it? Ran second. But look, I've been following him closely, this horse, as you probably have too, Nico. I think they just go back and do what they did. Just revert back to what they did in the Bart Cummings. Might be his go. Just turn him off out the back, show him some daylight late and let him rip out, because with the run of the race at Bendigo, he gets there and he thinks about it and whatever he's doing. So the blinkers are on, the blinkers are off now. What are they back on? Are they back off here or something? Off again. So I just just ride him quiet. Let the fast pace go, sneak him away like MD did in the Bart Cummings and produce him late. That might be his go, but Bendigo Cup form. I don't know. He nearly turned it up there. I was like, bloody hell. Anyway.
Time was okay at Bendigo, but if you watched it live, it looked like they took 4.5 minutes to get up straight.
Stop starting.
Yeah. He's a slug. He'll probably slug into some sort of slug position, but it's interesting what we talked about. It looks like there's going to be 4 or 5 horses out the front, and then about 27 of them across the track fighting out for 6th to 10th, about 6 lengths behind him. So
100%.
It's that sort of race, and I think he fits into that position.
Number 23 is Donny's horse, KALAPOUR. He's got a share in that one. Will replay his Archer win. Zach Lloyd, Chris Lees, and they didn't set the track alight in terms of times. You got Ladies Man sort of whacking away with 59. Donny's horse, KALAPOUR, goes from 56 down to 50 kilos. Cheering with everything in my might that he goes good. He's got the Land Legend form. Hopefully it runs a big race, but I can't see him winning the race. But hopefully he does a good job for Donny and the connections. Nico?
I think this isn't a bad sort of platform, like a slowly run 25, quick backup. Wasn't like he did much there. Ollie gave him a great ride, drops in the weight, has the right form around Land Legend and just fine. He's got to be some chance, I would have thought, just whether he runs 3,200.
I think he's top 10 chance. He go again, Land Legend form. I went looking for that. The lightweight, and he's led there, but he's not really a leader, so he'll sit midfield behind this fast tempo and come with a better timed run. And I thought he was a top 10 chance.
Well, I think the highlight of this horse's career was when he catapulted Tim nearly into the Gardens at Wyong Cup, when he shot him off into the grandstand and crushed his ribs. He's done a lot this prep, hasn't he? And I'm with you. I just cheering hard for Donny. The ride won that race yesterday. I don't mind the platform. He's super fit, going to come into this race 50 kilos. I think Zach Lloyd's a good option for him to put on the horse. Yeah, cheering hard, but if it's in that same gap back in the pack a little bit.
24 is True Marvel, Ben Thompson and Matt Smith, 151 into 101 at TopSport. Moonee Valley Gold Cup form, got beaten 15 lengths in the St. Leger around Land Legend. Fast run race would scare me off this horse. It's a no.
Sydney Cup, he did run second, and then 2 starts later, he won a maiden hurdle at Hamilton.
That's it. Beat Dashing Willoughby or something, wasn't it? Another Melbourne Cup horse.
And South Pacific, he was a Melbourne Cup horse at one time as well. So it'd be a good story, but
he's the old. That's so he's the one of the ones I was talking about. He's coming out of the Land Legend race, got beaten 100 yards or 15 lengths or something. Comes out and elevates off that. He was savaging the line in the Moonee Valley Cup. He's not. If you take that on face value, he's not hopeless. Not a really winning chance, but you could see him running top 10.
Well.
He savaged the line at his previous run.
He's the one that sort of baffles that form, doesn't it? Whether it's any good or not, that Moonee Valley Cup race. I think, from Scoot's perspective, Heffel off, Thompson on's probably a big negative, is it? Is it a big negative? Yeah, it's another one that fits into that gap. I wouldn't be surprised to see him whack into somewhere, but not testing the scorers up front.
All right, that's the runner-by-runner preview from the boys. Couple of big bets from TopSport. VAUBAN, 10,000 at $3.30.
Oh, yeah.
Is the first one. So well caught there, Tristan. SOULCOMBE, 500 at $11 is the next one. So that's a yes from DK, especially. Gold Trip 1,000 at $5. We suspect the horse will drift, but sets up perfectly. Right you are. This could be my bet. 250 at $91. As we said, sneaky chance there. And Future History, 500 at $26. All right, they're the TopSport Steamers. We need to sort of wrap up the show. I'll do my top pick first. I think it's Without a Fight is the horse to beat. I think the best weighted horse is more Felons, and I think they're Without a Fight will definitely be my best way. But respecting the roughies that you boys have put forward, Nico.
Yeah, I'm playing wide. Obviously, the horses inside the market got a key chance, but I just saw no value in any of their prices. So my top 4 sort of represents how I'm going to bet into the race in terms of my best winning results. I've got Absurd on top. He'll be my best result. I think he's a stupid price at $21. More Fallon second pick. I think he'll run a huge race. It's just the barrier's a little bit sticky there, but I think a fast run race will really suit him. SOULCOMBE, I would mark a lot shorter than $10. He's very well set up. And then BREAKUP, I think, is going to run a huge race as well, getting up to 3,200. VAUBAN, probably the best of the horses inside the market, and Gold Trip right there. And I think I'm going to have a trifecta: 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 20. Trying to jag it there. And I will be back in AKITA SOUSHI pretty heavily top 10. I reckon he's a great chance for top 10.
DK?
I'm playing pretty straight, Scooty. This is one favourite. I think. I think it'll get out a bit. It'll be interesting to see what the call of the card do tomorrow. We'll get a better guide on that. But there's the Willie Mullins factor. I remember Mike Simons telling me about him years ago, about Willie Mullins, and what a master, one of the big, one of the world's great trainers. And he's in love with this race, and he's got the right horse, and it's drawn the right barrier. It's got the world class rider. So I'm going to play pretty straight there. I think he looks the most likely winner to me. SOULCOMBE was the one at double, whether he'll jump, will he won't, well, he's double figures. He's the one, he's sort of, I'll be having something on him, and then it's hard. The traditional lead up to the Caulfield Cup and the Cox Plate, they're hard to see past him. You can try and punch holes in them, but both horses are just going super. Gold Trip and Without a Fight. So I'll play pretty straight there. So SOULCOMBE was my bit of value, and for the fairy tale would be Bound Declare to, as an 8-year-old to come back and win it, arguably in career best form. Love to see him win it. Bound Declare. So he was my fit number. He was in for 5th.
Well,
yeah, Without a Fight and Absurd, my 2 clear best results. Probably Absurd, same as Nico. Just it seems the clear horse that has to firm and is the value of the race at the moment. BREAKUP will be going around a winner. I'll chop out a more Felons for sanity reasons. And then, when you're playing exotics, I'll definitely be playing exotics with VAUBAN stood out from, all the horses we've talked about. I agree, throwing in horses like AKITA SOUSHI and is very important to sort of try and find a bit of value. But, and even Gold Trip, as I said, there's no knock on the horse. It's just from a price perspective, he can't go around a winner, same as the favourite. But, Without a Fight and Absurd will be my 2 best results, clearly.
Outstanding. There's a full comprehensive Melbourne Cup preview, and make sure you head to @Little Birdie TV if you want to follow more of our action racing. Watch for Johnny's stuff and Nico's Mounting Yard Mail for the next couple of days. We'll be back on Thursday for the Stakes Day show, but we'll be all over our Twitter handles and social pages and Discord chats if you want to ask us about any horses or any sort of betting questions. So good luck over the Cup Carnival, and especially Cup Day, and hopefully we've found you a winner amongst it. See you guys.